you ever been just bopping along, minding your own business, and this idea for sewing something pops into your head and it demands to be made right now? That is what happened to me with this next project I'm about to share with you today. I'm Nikki, this is Pin Cut Sew, and recently I was just like lounging around and I had this like bing, I have to go make this cute thing that I just thought of. So because it's Christmas time and I am in a Christmassy mood, I made my first version as a Christmas one, but this is not actually just a Christmas project. It is actually this cute little baby book. So it has pictures in it that I cut out of a fabric I had, and it turned out so darn cute that I then made a 12 Days of Christmas one. This is a good way to use up your little Christmassy pictures. I used little stick-on numbers. I'll show you more of this later because this one is a little bit more complicated. So today I'm going to make a tutorial for just the basic small 8-page book. Look at this Star Wars one I made yesterday. This is so flippin' cute. Ah, dying. So cute. I used up like a Star Wars print scrap. So before we start though, you can head over to my shop and get the printable version, the printable PDF pattern of this, so that you have the pattern pieces and everything and the step-by-step instructions with photos. But I am going to give you measurements with this tutorial, so you don't have to have that, but I do think it'll be helpful. And also the pattern will explain how to make it bigger and add more pages, and what to do if you have like an extra picture, how to put it on the back panel, you know. So the pattern will have all of the extras. Today's video will have everything you need to make this little 8-page book. Let's get started. Okay, wait, after this tutorial, I'm gonna come back on here and just tell you our exciting house moving news, because I know you guys are invested. So I'll give you an update on that after this tutorial. Okay, what you are going to need for this is some scraps of fabric, or fat quarters will be fine too. And on the inside, I'm using fusible fleece. I buy this by the roll now on Amazon. It's a nicer product for this kind of thing than batting because it's not as thick. It's structured, but doesn't have the thickness of batting. And you can use batting if that's all you have. Try not to let it be like a very high loft one, because you do have to sew through this much, like these layers together at the end. So use what you have, but I like this fusible fleece. It keeps everything in place and is a nice thickness for this kind of thing. And then you're going to need a fabric print that has pictures on it. At the end, I'll give you some ideas for what else to do besides just pictures, because I keep thinking of really fun things. But a fabric panel that has little pictures is perfect. So I had this little Matryoshka doll nativity print. I couldn't find this anywhere. I think I've seen it on Etsy, but I got this at Joann's in like 2002. So, but there's lots of other nativity prints that are fun. I was super annoyed that this didn't come with a shepherd. I thought it was really annoying. It does have 3 kings, which isn't exactly biblically accurate. There are probably more than 3, but it does have everybody else, and it has a sheep. So a knowing parent can explain the shepherd. Anyway, I was annoyed by that, but the print is so cute. So we have baby Jesus and Joseph and Mary and everybody. And then for this one, I had more pages because I did the 12 Days of Christmas, and I bought the iron-on numbers from Hobby Lobby. And we have all of the 12 Days of Christmas pictures represented. Isn't that so cute? 11, 12. And then the Star Wars one was just one little scrap that I happened to have enough of all 8 pictures. So you do need, for this size of book, 8 pictures plus 1 for the front. So today I have this cute nutcracker print, and I think this one has 9 if I use the angels. So I was trying to decide, like, what do I do? Do I leave someone out, or do I put like the angels on the back cover? I think I'm gonna try to use the angels somehow. And then you also need some fusible webbing. It looks like this. Mine is called So Light. Oh look, Heat and Bond Light. You definitely want the light kind because you're going to be sewing through it. If you don't use the light kind, then it might gum up your needle, which is annoying. So Heat and Bond Light, I'll put links to these products, of course, in the description. And then you're going to need these pattern pieces. If you don't want to buy the pattern, the page pattern is 4.5 by 8.5. And the cover pattern piece is 4.5 by 9. So your pages are 4.5 by 8.5. Your cover is 4.5 by 9. Let's get started. So first thing we need to do is pick out fabrics. You need 2 for the cover and 2 for each pair of pages. We're gonna call them page pairs. So let me dig through my fabrics and find some. Okay, I picked some. Look, I have this point shoe fabric. Matches this pink pretty well. So for each page pair, and we're gonna have 2 page pairs. See, here's one. These are connected. And here's one. I need two fabrics per page pair. And then I need 2 fabrics for my cover. So I'm just gonna mix and match at will, ironing these out as I go. Okay, let's see how I like that. I'm gonna put these back to back. I think I'm gonna hold off on cutting out my cover till I get this part made, and then I can decide what I want my cover to look like. So I'm going to stack each page pair wrong side to wrong side for now, so I can see what it's going to look like. And I like to just, in order to hold this together, the most confusing part of this project is trying to keep your pages in order as you work on it. So I like to just pin them together at the edges for now, because these are gonna get folded in half. So this book, the pages don't get nested like this. They are stacked side by side like this. So here's what it's gonna look like so far. If I have these pages stacked, I have this page, then this page, then the ballet page. Might want this one to go first. Point shoes, or do I want it this way? Yeah, that's how I like it. Okay, so next we have to prepare our pictures. So you want to find 8 pictures, because this fits 8, and then you'll need an extra one for the front cover. I just reused the baby Jesus on this one. So I put pins in 8 characters I want to use on this panel, so I could count them effectively. I almost left off the Mouse King, that would have been bad. Okay, and then instead of cutting these out individually, like you can do if you have, like, if they're scattered all over, you just cut a small piece of this heat and bond, bigger than your picture, you adhere it to the back, and then you cut out your picture. But since I have this whole piece that I'm going to use, I'm gonna cut a piece big enough to cover this whole section and just fuse it to the back of the fabric. So let me go ahead and make sure this covers, cut this out. This print is so cute. It's called, let's see. Oh, it doesn't say. Oh, it's by Rifle Paper. That's why it's so cute. I got it on Etsy, I think, but I'll put a link to it in the description. If you're new here, you may not know that my oldest daughter, Natalie, she dances in our city ballet in the studio company. So if you have a ballet dancer in your life, then Nutcracker is like a season all by itself. Nutcracker starts in like August and goes through Christmas, and I just, like, I will forever love Nutcracker. Natalie's dancing 5 roles in our Nutcracker this year. So proud of her, cannot wait. I'm going twice. If you live in the area in Louisville, you should go. Okay, so I'm going to just put the bumpy side onto the back of my fabric and iron it on. Okay, once it cools for a minute, I'm gonna start cutting out the pictures. I thought about adding some of the sweets onto every page too, but I decided not to. That would just add a lot of time, you know. So when I cut these out, I just cut the shape out around it. If you wanna use like a circle and make it very nice and neat, you go right ahead. I'm not sure which, maybe she's Russian? In some ballets, it's candy canes, and sometimes Russians. That's what it looks like to me. I don't know, these are weird characters. Natalie would know. Maybe she's reed flutes. No, that's a baton. I think she's candy canes. And Clara, sometimes she's called Marie. So here are all of my characters. I'll probably pick another one of these to put on the front cover too. But I'm going to wait on that. I think he'd be cute. Drosselmeyer. Okay, let me grab my pages again. And so now you have a papery back on your pictures, and this just peels off, and basically what you did is made your fabric into a sticker. So I'm gonna peel the backs off of all of these. Okay, and now I'm gonna just arrange them on my pages how I want them to go. Clara's kind of the main character, so I'm gonna put her on the front. I'm just gonna pin her here for now through just the one layer of the page. And then I'm going to flip my page open. And I think next I will do Drosselmeyer and the Nutcracker, because they show up to the story about the same time. Then let's see, probably the Mouse King and the Soldier. Then we have, let's do these, Land of Sweets Dancers. And then on the last page, whoops, last page I'll do Sugar Plum because she's kind of a main character too. She sort of is the finale. Okay, so here's how I'm gonna lay them out. I might put the angels on the back cover or I might decide not to use them. Either way, it's okay. So now I'm going to try to keep my stuff in order as I go. But I'm gonna unfold this first page pair, remove the pins, and I'm just going to iron these on to their respective pages. So I'm gonna separate this, bring it over to the iron. You also wanna make sure you're centering your pictures. Okay, so now my pictures are stuck down. So I'm gonna replace this. I like to keep everything, all the page pairs together because otherwise I'll lose track. Okay, that goes there. I'm gonna refold this and do this one next. So let me open this guy up. So now I have my pictures stuck down. Now I just need to go sew all the way around the edges. I just like to lower my stitch length to like 2 to help me get around the curves. And I just edge stitch them down. Okay, I've sewn down all of my little pictures. So now I need to get my fusible fleece and cut 2 pieces using my same pages pattern piece. And now I'm going to iron one of these onto the back of just one panel in each page pair. Whoa. Glue stick almost rolled off the table. So I'm gonna press this onto the back of this one first, and now one panel of this pair. All right, so now we're just going to put these right sides together. Make sure all your pictures are facing the same direction. We don't want to end up with some upside down. So I'm just gonna go sew these together, and I'm going to leave a few inches open at the bottoms. This step and the rest of the steps I find very helpful to use the walking foot on your machine. If you don't know what that is, I have a video about the glories of the walking foot. It's for me an essential sewing tool. So if you don't have one though, that's okay. It'll be fine without it, but it does help keep all of the layers from shifting when you're sewing bulky things like this. Okay, let me put a few more pins. So I'm gonna sew all the way around here in a 1/4 inch seam. I'm gonna stop here, so I'm gonna put 2 pins. Right. Okay, I sewed them and now I've clipped the corners and I'm turning them right side out so I can give them a really good press. Stubborn nutcracker, should have known it was you. Okay, I pressed them flat with steam and I pressed the opening in as if I'd sewn it so that now when I go top stitch it, this opening will get sewn closed. So I'm gonna sew all the way around each one, still with my walking foot attached 1/8 of an inch from the folds. Okay, my page panels are done. So let me fold them back how they go, and so that I don't lose track of them. This one goes this way. I'm just going to check once again that my pages are in order. Yes, 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 and yes. Okay. I'm going to set those aside for right now while I make my cover page. So I need another piece of fusible fleece to go on my cover. And I think I'm going to put the Nutcracker on the front. It is called the Nutcracker Ballet, after all. So let me cut a scrap out of my fusible web. While he cools, I will choose fabrics for my cover. So I think he'll look pretty cool on here. And then for the inside cover, I think I'll do this red gingham. This will make it a little bit more Christmassy. Okay, and then I also need to cut a little tab. My tab size is 2 1/4 by 2 1/2. Actually, wouldn't it be easier if I just cut them both 2 1/4? Yeah, it's okay. So let me decide what I want that to look like. If he's here, do I want the tab to match? Do I want a scrap of this for the tab? All right, I cut a 2 1/4 inch square. That'll be just fine. So I'm going to prep my cover the same as I did my pages. I'm going to put my Nutcracker on the front. He goes on here like this. Okay, and I'll go sew him down. Then I'm gonna make my tab. So I'm gonna go sew this together on one short side and on the long side. So bloop doop. Okay, press my tab flat. Your tab is going to go on the opposite side from your nutcracker. So I'm going to mark the center of this. I'm putting it on the inside panel, or it can, I guess it can go on this part too. Okay, so the opposite side of your nutcracker, it gets centered here and sewn in place. Okay, let me apply my fusible web to the back. I meant fusible fleece, not web. And right sides together, I'm going to sew this the same as I did the pages. Ta-da! Here's my cover. Okay, now we get to assemble the book. So the first thing we want to do is mark the middle of both of our pages. You can press it in half, but when you're pressing something bulky, it tends to not be very accurate. So I measure it instead. Let me make sure. So I have an 8-inch page, so 4 inches should be the dead center. I'm using my heat erasable marking pen. Oh, I left the lid off of this last night. I have regrets. Okay, there's one page, and here's the other one. So these get folded into the book this way. Like I said, not nested like this, but one on top of the other. The easiest way to mark where they go is to fold them perfectly. Wrap the cover around them. Get them all situated in there. Make sure the cover wraps around. And I'm going to mark where they're sitting inside my cover. So I'm squeezing. I'm going to stick pins into the spine on the top and the bottom. And now I'm going to remove one page. Oops, I pinned it down. And I'm going to place the first page with my line right in between these pins. I put some pins across. I'm going to take this over to my machine with my walking foot and stitch it down. This is kind of the only tricky part of this. If you have trouble, like for example, if you don't have a walking foot, I suggest starting in the middle and going out to one edge and then turning it, starting in the middle and going out to the other one. That way it doesn't get shifted above your book cover. Okay, that one went swimmingly. Let me erase my marking. Okay, the second page is a little trickier because now we have this bulk right here. So my walking foot is too fat this way to get over that bulk, and it doesn't like to do it. So this time I'm going to attach a zipper foot to my sewing machine, and I'm going to take my own advice and start in the middle and go that way, and start in the middle and go that way. And the zipper foot, if my needle is to the left of it, then this bulk isn't in the way, if that makes sense. So I'm going to pin it out here probably. It's kind of hard to pin it on that other side. And attach a zipper foot to my machine for this one. Okay, I sewed down this way. Now I'm going to switch to this way, but I have to move my needle to the other side of my zipper foot. This makes it so much easier using a zipper foot and going from the middle down. Okay, the very last step. Here's what my book looks like. So cute! All I have left to do is put the Velcro on it for the tab. So here's my Velcro. I'm just going to cut a square. Well, a rectangle. It's not very big. And then I'm just gonna go sew this part onto my tab and then this corresponding part onto here wherever it needs to go. I'm gonna sew all the way around it. Regular foot this time. Okay, so while I was making this, first let me show you how cute this turned out. It's adorable. I decided not to use the angels. And that was the first time I used the zipper foot technique, and that was highly effective. So I'll be sure and put that in the pattern instructions. So hop over and get yourself this pattern, and it will also give instructions for how to add pages, how to size it up if your pictures are too big, and a list of ideas of books to make. Here are some that I thought of while working on this project. You could make, look, I have this amazing alphabet ABC fabric. Isn't this so cute? You can get this from Ruby Star. It's called, I don't know. Anyway, I'll find it and I'll link it for you. I think it's really cute. So you could make an alphabet book. I think so that your book wouldn't be way too big, you could put more than one letter per page. And if you made the book a little bit bigger, you could put more than one letter per page, and you could find little things, little objects to put on there that start with each letter. If you have a large stash of novelty prints, this is the project for you. Also, when I went to my fabric store, my local quilt store, I perused the novelty prints, and here's some things that I saw. I saw an occupation fabric with cute little characters wearing different work outfits. I found vehicle fabrics and like tractor fabrics. I saw lots of different animal ones, safari animals, zoo animals, cats and dogs, that kind of thing. You could fill it with favorite things. You could make Christmas books like I did. You could also print pictures onto, there's printer paper that you just print onto fabric. It's like fabric printer paper, printer fabric. It comes and it's made to go in your printer. So I think my mom made one of my nieces a little family photos book once with our pictures in it, with all the family's pictures, and that's a really, really cute idea for a little one. So you could make a little family photo book. There's also a lot of prints with like fairy tale characters. You can literally tell the story. Or you could, would be really fun. I didn't have time for this before I had to film this. You could make a small scrappy quilt block, one per color. So you could make a small page of all yellows. You could make a small page of orange prints and make a color book. That'd be so much fun. So yeah, but tell me, what are some of your ideas? Let's brainstorm together in the comments. I really, really hope that you like this project and that you want to make some, because they're just really fun. But for now, before I go, let me update you. We are indeed moving. I think I mentioned it in my last video, and some people were like, wait, so you're actually moving? Yes, we sold our house. We are past all the inspection process. Our closing date is in a few weeks, and we found a great house that's perfect for us, has everything that we need. We're not moving far, we're just moving in town to a place that's a little bit less property and a little bit more inside space, because we currently have basically 5 adults living here. We all have hobbies. 2 of us work from home, myself and Layla, and I love this tiny room, and I have managed to produce a lot of projects from here, but I am really excited to have more space for all of this. And my husband makes kites. He loves kites. He has a space in the new house, and my son is a musician. His room is bigger for all of his guitars and his amps. My daughter Layla, she's an artist and she video edits. She'll have a little bit better of a space. My daughter Natalie has an Etsy shop. Oh, since I brought up Natalie has an Etsy shop where she designs and sells ballet themed stickers. They are beautiful. Layla can pop some pictures and I'll put a link, and her Etsy shop has become, she just gets more successful every month. So very excited about that for her. She'll have a little bit more space and we all can just spread out a little bit. So yeah, we're excited for a lower maintenance property. This place right now has almost 3 acres. The next place is in a neighborhood on 1/3 of an acre. Enough for my son to still ride the riding lawnmower probably. But yeah, we're just excited. We're excited to make small minor updates in that house and put our Shriner Flare on it. That's what my friend called it, the Shriner Flare. And so yeah, thanks for thinking of us through all that, because we started this process a very long time ago in May. We had a lot of setbacks, but the perfect house for us came along at just the right time when our buyer was ready and we were ready, and it's all just like, we're giddy with excitement. We're so excited. So I'm gonna pre-record some videos, and we moved 2 weeks before Christmas, and I usually take the last 2 weeks of December off anyway, so the timing worked out great. And I'll be sure and film a moving vlog for you and show you the new space. I have one picture of it. My realtor is in the picture, but you can't tell who she is, so I'm gonna have Layla put it in there anyway. It is a much bigger space with like 2 walk-in closets. It's amazing. And yeah, anyway, I'll see y'all soon. Bye.